Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Scott Stevenson. I'm a freelance filmmaker, DP, and gaffer living here in Los Angeles. And on this channel, I document my journey as a freelance filmmaker, and hopefully I'm able to teach you guys some tips and tricks, and you'll be able to find some value on the things that I present here. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a subject that a lot of people don't like to talk about. It's actually kind of taboo, but I know that it's something that everybody deals with, and that's getting paid, right? We all want to do this professionally. I mean, what is being a professional anyway? It means getting paid for your work. It means that you go out and you do a job and you get paid. And what we really want to be able to do is come in, we do a good job on set, and we send our invoice, and we want to get paid, you know? And most of the time we go out and we prep for jobs, and sometimes we travel, we pick up gear, we do a lot of stuff that's maybe not even billable. And then we send that invoice and it's 30 days, 60 days, and we still haven't heard back from the client or these producers. And I just think that this is really crazy, and it's just something that we need to maybe address and really just kind of think about and change in our industry. How is it that we can go so long without paying for our crew members? They show up, they do a physical job on set, 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours away from their family, and then they have to wait 2 months to get paid. I know personally that I have bills to pay, I have a family to support, and there's just no way that I can go so long without being paid. It makes me contemplate if I want to stay in this industry, and it's very difficult to have a sustainable life, and definitely hard to plan for the future when you don't know when your next check is coming. Even if you've done a job and you can expect that that money's coming, it might not come. Which is crazy to think. So many people have a job and they're like, oh, I have a job, I'm gonna get paid. Well, I have a job, but I might not get paid, and if I do get paid, it's going to be months from now when I actually see that money. So that's kind of crazy. And I just feel like we need to really change that part of our industry. So what can you do about it? Well, if you are working for yourself and it's your business and it's your production, you can, and you're working direct to client, you can ask the client and say to them, hey, I need a deposit. I need some of the money up front so I can book the location, I can hire the crew, I can pay my editor, I can buy hard drives, I can do all the things that need to be done so that this production can move forward, and I'm not going to have to be like fronting the whole thing as a producer. If you're a freelancer, like you're in my situation, and you're coming onto a job and you are just hired for the day, whether you're a grip or a DP or gaffer, production coordinator, whatever it is you're doing, even a PA, you are just filling out a deal memo for the most part, and you're just having this promise that says, hey, I'm going to come and work, and you're going to pay me $200, $500, $1,000 for the day. You come and you do your job, and a lot of times we don't get paid, or if we do get paid, it's just forever. I know it's the most frustrating thing to know that you did a good job and you're just waiting for your check, and you don't want to rub people the wrong way. You don't want to come off as pushy or hard to work with, because then they're maybe not going to call you back. They're like, oh, I'll just find another DP who is not such a jerk and he's not emailing me 1,000 times. But we have bills to pay. We can't be waiting for so long to move on to the next project. Maybe some of these people have other jobs, or maybe they're working through an agency and they have such a high rate that they're doing okay and they're able to float going a couple months. Or maybe they just have so many jobs that maybe this one's not coming in, but they're coming from a different angle, so they have plenty of work. But I know a lot of us don't have a ton of work, and the invoices that we do send out, we really depend on to make ends meet. Another thing we can do is just have a minimum of what we're actually willing to work for. It's kind of like a race to the bottom, and the larger filmmakers, the people who are doing these big feature films, when work gets slow and they start to dry up, they start moving into the commercial world, and then the commercial and music video guys, they start doing events and then small videos and social media, and everybody kind of shifts around in the industry, and they're willing to work for a lot less. So everybody else is willing to work for a lot less. So it just drives all the prices down. I feel like I just want to come out with a cell phone sometimes and shoot, because the budgets are so small. Why would I bring anything more than like an iPhone? But that's not the way to look at it. You need to still bring your A game and have the highest quality gear and do all this kind of stuff. But as we all know, lenses can be thousands and thousands of dollars. Microphones are thousands of dollars. Cameras, tripods, lights, all this kind of stuff is very expensive. Computers, and as filmmakers, we're expected to have all this gear and to maintain it and to be able to afford tens of thousands of dollars worth of gear, but we're struggling to get $500 or $1,000 or $2,000, whatever it is, on an invoice, when the client is like, oh, $2,000, when they don't even realize that, like, my batteries alone are $2,000, just to turn my camera on alone. Like, the memory card inside my camera costs $1,000. I have a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, Angel Bird card could cost thousands of dollars just for the memory card or the card reader, or, they don't realize that if I go out on a job and I lose one of my memory cards or my card reader, I could be out thousands of dollars. That's just the cost of doing business. And if I'm going to go to your job and drive there and go there and risk my gear being lost or stolen or whatever, and you don't have insurance, and then I'm out hundreds of dollars for what? To make $200, $300 for the day. And I know that sounds like a lot of money if you're not in the film industry, $300. But when you are a freelancer, independent contractor, and you're kind of basically running your own business, it's expensive to be able to maintain this kind of stuff. One thing we just need to do is to just hold these producers accountable who are not paying their crews and are not standing up for just people being taken care of. I know I have several invoices that are out right now that are late. But last month there was some invoices that were late. This month I have an invoice that's late. I'm trying to track down. And these producers, what do they say to me? They say, oh, we haven't been paid for the job yet. It's not my production company. The client hasn't paid this. I think that that's insane. How can you hire a crew? How can you tell people to come out and work on a job? How can you get all these balls in motion, basically riding on credit that, oh yeah, we'll get paid eventually. Oh yeah, I'll pay you eventually. That's insane. And then when you're late, it's your fault. And I mean, a lot of people, when it goes that far, what course of action do we have? We can send them to the labor board, take them to court with small claims court. But then also you're burning that bridge between you and that production company, you and that producer. And a lot of times maybe it's not their fault. Maybe, they don't have the money. But why do we put ourselves in these situations when you're working for these big companies? These big companies are like, hey, I need you to do $50,000 worth of work, and I'm not going to pay you anything until that edit is complete. That's insane. And then you got people who have been working on this for months and months and months, and they have nothing, and the producer's having to front thousands of dollars to take care of this crew because it's been so long that they haven't been compensated. I think this is insane. I think the producers need to get at least 75 to 80% of the budget up front before you even start a project. Before you make a call to hire somebody, before you start looking at the creative, you need to acquire those funds and have them set aside. What other industry do we try to buy stuff that we can't afford like this? Would you go to the gas station and fill up gas and then drive away and then say, oh, I'll pay it in a month? That's essentially what a credit card is, right? These filmmakers, they treat us freelancers like a credit card. They work us and then they say, oh, we'll pay you later kind of stuff. I can't do that to my bills. I can't tell my landlord, hey, I'll pay you later. I'll pay you next month. I'll pay you in 2 months. The bills that come due when it's the first of the month and you need to have that money. It's really not sustainable. I don't know how this industry has gone this long with doing things the way they're doing it. It seems like almost criminal. And I've been really selective about what types of jobs I'm taking in the future. And if they're my own projects or my own clients, I'm very upfront about saying that I need money right away to even get started on their project. I'm not going to show up and shoot 8K, 6K footage unless you're buying hard drives up front. I'm not going to bring a whole crew out to a location and pay for their pier space and their lunch and all this stuff if I can't get some of that money up front. And just to say like, oh, we'll reimburse your parking. Oh, we'll reimburse this. Just add it to the invoice, add it to the invoice, add it to the invoice. And now I'm out hundreds and hundreds of dollars and my crew's out hundreds of dollars. And then what? Now we're all waiting. Not only did we show up to your job, now we had to pay for parking, had to pay for our own lunch, pay for all this kind of stuff. And then, oh, we'll get you later. That's unacceptable. Anyways, guys, this is kind of my rant on, payment terms here in the film industry. You guys let me know down below in the comments if you've been in a situation similar to this. I'm sure you have. If you've been doing this long enough, you've had clients that didn't pay or paid late. And how does it affect you? How does it, impact your business? How are you able to, keep the cash flow going? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about finances. I want to be a little bit more open. Let's have a conversation in the comments below. Reach out to me. I'm on Instagram, Scott Stevenson _DP.
You can reach me there on Instagram. Let's talk. I want to figure out what's going on. What can we do to change this and make this a little bit easier for people to have a sustainable living here in the film industry. Anyways, guys, I'm Scott Stevenson. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out my past videos as well as subscribe to see my future ones. Peace.